and welcome to our presentation on the journey of the RG97 regulatory changes for 2017 and beyond. My name is Sue and I'm coming to you on behalf of Bitsol, who provide intelligent business solutions for the financial industry. So let's get started. The main question we want to answer in today's presentation is how can super funds and managers gather RG97 data by using a secure platform, therefore disclosing fees and costs from underlying investment vehicles to the regulator. But before we answer this question, let me tell you a little bit about Bitsol and what qualifies us to talk to you today. We are known as one of the only bespoke software solutions businesses in the super industry, as well as the broader financial industry. We work with some of Australia's leading funds and have a highly specialised team who live and breathe the compliance elements of RG97. In addition, we're also the leaders in creating and designing the technology that brings together these two elements needed to make it a complete and viable solution, giving you the best of both worlds. We have been following the regulatory changes related to RG97 very closely and have been providing bespoke solutions to the organisations who this affects. So here's what we'll cover in today's presentation. How to collect data so you can meet disclosure obligations, how to plug the deficit in data collection and reporting solutions in the most efficient way, and how to improve data quality so you can provide sufficient details and accuracy, and finally, the best way to aggregate manager data into a single source for import and disclosure. So you might be asking whether this is for you. Let's find out. If you need an immediate solution to these issues just highlighted, then you're in the right place. Moreover, if you're a fund manager or a superannuation fund, you're definitely in the right place. While we deal with the data collection, management and reporting issues for all of the financial industry, this presentation is specifically designed for your industry. So you might also be asking yourself, why is this crucial now? It is a crucial time to think about a solution to this problem because the compliance changes came into effect from the end of September this year. So as of the 30th of September, you must have been able to prove to APRA that you've taken reasonable action to comply with transparency requirements. And in doing so, your fund cannot fall behind with the technology disruption which is already occurring, which is why you need a partner who can help you remain ahead of that curve. So what are the risks of non-compliance? In the first instance, it could lead to enforcement action from the regulator where the fund has failed to take reasonable care or is not taking reasonable steps towards compliance. And secondly, members may not be able to reliably compare your fund to others, and fees and charges may not be reflected accurately or clearly enough. This would put you at risk of losing members to other funds. Earlier in the year, Mercer conducted a survey of Australia's leading super funds and fund managers and put an executive report together which found that 94% of the funds they surveyed don't consider pressure from disruptors a serious risk to their fund's future. Disruptors like regulatory changes we're talking about here today, as well as the potential of long-term margins from fees, the benefits technology brings to operations and costs, and the immense value potential in lifelong relationships with fund members. If that is the truth, and 94% of funds don't consider it a pressure, then the industry may be in for a major shake-up, as the super industry is a $2.2 trillion industry, making it a very attractive industry to become a part of. If current funds are not putting an importance on the future and simply dealing with industry disruption as they happen, they're at major risk of new players entering the market with major operational and technological advantages such as fintech, blockchain, cloud technology, digital access, and straight-through processing, without the cumbersome operational and systems legacies that weigh down existing super funds today. The fact is, disruption is occurring already due to the compliance requirements, and many funds aren't ready, not really ready. So, how are the current regulatory changes affecting funds now? Firstly, it's already adding to the cost base. Time and resources has to be allocated to demonstrate evidence that the issuer has acted in good faith to attempt to comply. And acting in good faith includes making genuine and considered attempts to estimate any costs rather than assuming that the costs can be disregarded or just simply an arbitrary amount put to them. So the time to get serious is now. If you're going to spend time and money and resources on compliance, then do it well. Make it count for you. Why would you spend time and money to only estimate? There are people that can help you implement a solution that can be exact and work in your favour. So let's look at a case study for a moment. This case study applies to the super industry and was, in fact, the very first client that came to us with these problems for solving. The problems these guys needed to solve were as follows. They needed to collect and interpret detailed cost information from a panel of external fund managers. Due to the fact that regulatory bodies now require this information in relation to all investment and underlying investment vehicles to comply with the disclosure requirements. These requirements started as of the 30th of September this year, so a solution was of high importance. The external managers were managing mandates and investment products in which the funds invested. The level of information required was significant and needed to be collected for each month of the fund's reporting period. Managers were asked to complete and submit their information. The task in collecting the information was so considerable and time-consuming that it took months and months of effort, resulting in multiple iterations of the data, and was submitted by the managers to the fund. Once received, the fund then had to collate the data from all the managers to form a clear view of the costs associated by the investment manager, asset class, and then ultimately by the fund itself. Once that was completed, the fund's disclosure reports could then be collated again and produced for submission to the regulator. The entire process took several months to complete, with only a short amount of time to validate, sensitize, and assess the relevance and the integrity of the data that came through. The fact that this process needed to happen periodically and on an ongoing basis highlighted that there was a need for a better solution. The issue was that while the process was replicable, it was heavily manual and labour intensive, both in the collection and the analysis of the information, leaving too much room for error and therefore not the best practice for the future of the fund. So let's now take a look at what the outcomes were that the client was looking for. The desired outcome was to find a solution that met the RG97 requirements to the regulator. Given the nature of the ongoing disclosure commitment, the solution had to take the pain out of gathering the information needed to meet the requirements, meaning that we needed to simplify and streamline the collection process. In simple terms, we needed to achieve three things. We needed to simplify the collection process, reduce the administration time and cost of compliance, and finally, standardize the information being sought from managers and other third parties. So in knowing this, let's talk now about the solution. The solution is a cloud-based application that we call the Gatherer. Essentially, the Gatherer does exactly as the name suggests. as you can see in this screenshot, it gathers information by asset class, manager, and investment. To the client, the gatherer provides a shared service solution with the primary drivers being simple and easy to use, with the ability to streamline the collection of data, aggregate it, and then allow the funds to extract the data for use in the downstream disclosure processes. The solution is easy for managers to use and provides strict controls over segregation of information to protect the confidential nature of each fund's data. In implementing the gatherer, it ultimately took the hassle out of the collection process and allowed the fund the opportunity to analyse the information they receive, thus being able to add more value. So let's take a look at the results that the client ended up achieving. Using the gatherer resulted in significant reduction in effort of the fund's internal resources during the collection and the analysis processes. The gatherer freed up a lot of the fund's resources to add further value. The gatherer is a simple method for managers to submit period data, and it also automated the collation, aggregation, and summary of the data submitted. The gatherer allows the ability for the fund to extract and use the data in downstream systems or processes, and it also gave them a shared service platform which will move as the industry evolves to the benefit of all parties using it. By looking at yet another screenshot of the solution, it ultimately gave them a more robust platform for solving a common industry problem. So there you have it. We trust that you found this presentation valuable, and if you did, we would be delighted to help you work through any problems you might be working through in your business. If you are an Australian business, you know that the time is now to future-proof your business for the disruption, or get left behind and let the new startups with better technology win over your members. So make a phone call to us today. There is no obligation, and find out how you can benefit from the gatherer and stay ahead of the game. Thank you.